What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you guys have been requesting this video a lot. After the video we done on the 50 cow explosion, apparently this is like the next most wild thing. It's called My RPG-7 Exploded on Me in slow motion, which sounds crazy. Like, how's this person alive if an RPG exploded on them? We gonna find out. But before we do,
somebody said I don't scare them apparently, but you know what? I'm gonna make it even more scarier. I want to play a game.
all right, Jigsaw.
Better subscribe. Okay?
Better subscribe, guys. Or
you.
you might end up in a like sewage place and you have to fight for your life.
Exactly.
Let's do this.
All right, are you sure you're ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
So that's their reaction to it. I wonder what our reaction is gonna be like, boy. This is gonna be wild. Graphic footage. They got a bloody advisory.
They have to. It must be very graphic.
If you didn't read that warning, again, let me reiterate, do not watch this video if you are faint of heart. This video does contain some shocking footage. It's potentially triggering to PTSD victims. This is for medical, educational purposes only. We would never glorify this for any reason. This is a pretty unfortunate accident, but we are ready to go over the footage together and see what we can learn from it, talk about safety, talk about our plans for the future. And there is a chance that some of this is still going to be censored. We're not sure at the time of recording how much will be censored, but we want to keep our channel. And if we put up too much graphic content, there's a chance the entire channel gets demonetized.
Yeah.
And because of that, if you do see some censored content, that's why the entire unedited, uncensored footage will be available on Patreon if that's the case. That's pretty much the only way we can do this while still keeping our channel. So our link to Patreon will be in the description below and you can go watch it there. But again, do not watch it if you can't handle this because it is very shocking. He's okay with showing the footage that's here. He wants to watch it. He wants to show you guys so we can learn from it. So Adam is back and thankfully recovering.
Oh,
I have returned indeed.
got some injuries there.
You said one like and I'll come back and here you are.
Yes, I did get at least one. It might have been me. I'm not sure.
How would you say you're doing now?
A lot better. Still takes a lot of wound care. I don't think I'm out of the woods on that yet. Probably still got a solid few months on that. The nerve stuff, never know. We'll get into that later.
Gone.
People have seen the footage, but it's been blurred. We've done some updates on the hospital and everything, but before we watch it, if you don't know what's going on right now, stop watching this. Our last video has all of the context. We were firing different launchers. We had a Carl Gustav M2 launcher and the RPG-7.
Yep.
And we had a catastrophic failure during launching basically the final shot of the day.
Of course.
So yeah, if you don't know what's going on, please go watch.
Just watching those RPGs shoot, he's lucky to be alive. If this like properly exploded, which it sounds like it did, how he's still there, I have no idea.
God is on his side.
I'll be real, no idea how he's still there.
God is on his side.
The last episode, and then return if you feel like you can handle watching what happened.
We were studying the effects of the backblast from RPGs because they are extremely dangerous.
As we saw with the ballistic hand.
Yeah, and then as we were doing it to a head, I remember counting down to 1, and then next thing I knew, I was on the ground and my arms were entirely black. These aren't sleeves, these are all bandages. They used to be all the way up, but this one's healing pretty good. The rocket launcher basically exploded.
I've unfortunately seen this footage several times. I
have
had
to
save all the
analyze
footage
it
and edit it and prepare all these clips for you, but you've seen nothing other than your memories of like the aftermath.
And then the same censored one that is in the previous episode. Yep.
Correct.
I also, for you guys, I haven't seen any of my gear. I've seen the launcher because we got it demilled and sent to us, and I've put it back in the configuration that it was found on the ground. So when we get to the launcher, that's exactly how it was.
All right, so I already know what to expect with this,
Yeah.
and it's already making my heart kind of go. So I'm mostly curious how this is going to go for you. You've been deployed, you've seen stuff before, but it's going to be different when it's you. and you're watching it.
And when we were in Texas, I talked to Scott from Kentucky Ballistics, who went through something very similar.
He's the one we watched with the 50 cal. So yeah, from Kentucky Ballistics. Are they like because this is ballistic high speed, are they like a co-owned channel where they're like a franchise, or is that not the case? Comment below, guys.
And he kind of warned me of that too.
All right.
So I guess we'll see. What's this going to be first? Like, is this slow-mo? Is this normal
This
speed?
is the normal footage
Uh-oh.
from the red camera, which is our main normal angle. And you'll hear your countdown as you remember, and it'll happen. And then from there, you know, we can talk about this shot however much you want, however many times you want to see it, and then we can move on to high speed. And yeah, so
Damn,
we'll
let's
see what we
go.
can do as far as what we can learn from this. This is the 3, 2, 1 word.
Okay. All right.
Are you sure you're ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh no!
Call 911.
And here comes all the
Oh,
swear
fuck.
words in the response.
Oh shit, what do we do? What's bleeding? It's his face. Call 911. I'll call it.
I don't know if you can see there, but
Damn, that is crazy. So that was a full-on explosion, like not like a little mild one. That's insane. How the hell did he survive that? And his face, I'm surprised he's only got the arms. Like, what about it? I'm surprised he didn't have
He's
more.
very lucky because the other guy had the thing pierced through his lung.
Which-
then it hit his head and his
Yeah.
eye as well.
And it collapsed the lung as well, I think. So he got very lucky because that was ugly, but it could have been a lot uglier.
like my body was already like tremoring. And
Holy shit.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can already see. I've got skin grafts right there.
yeah. Okay.
Wow.
And imagine
that
him
rocked
watching
my
that.
You want me to pull it back?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
we'll get into some of this in the
wild.
high speed, but I mean, you're inside an explosion. For
Literally.
an instant, and it
Oh,
throws you.
There isn't a second of that I could see on that first one where there was no attempt to catch myself. I'm instantaneously
Oh, you're
out.
yeah.
Like,
You're done. Like you are immediately unconscious, as far as I can tell.
that was nuts. All right.
You want to see it again?
Yep.
Okay.
That is wild.
2, 1.
Dude, I can't even see my helmet leave frame.
I know.
Shit.
Call 911.
Oh fuck. Oh shit, what do we do?
Yeah, his arms are black.
His
Another
face.
thing I want to point out while I'm thinking about it. So when people experience trauma, in terms like blunt force trauma, it's not uncommon for your body to seize up in whatever position it was in. Something that happened to you, you can see it right here, like your right hand that was grasping that front handle there, clamped up in that way. So when you're laying there, keep in mind this camera was way off further left than we were. So it
Okay.
can see your fingers there, we couldn't. So one of the things what we saw was your burnt arm and then nothing.
Oh.
So
So
there
they
was
probably lost
all
a hand.
sorts of things of like, did this happen? Did that happen? Kind of thing.
3, 2, 1.
What's wild about that is they had like the skull thing to show the demonstration of what it would be like on a human, and then that happened. What coincidence! Like that's actually mad. What's your thoughts seeing that?
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
It's just shocking. What? Obviously, guys, be safe when you are out there with your guns and everything. But I guess there's only so much safety you could take, precaution on.
Because they,
Like, I'm
no
sure
one
they were
planned
fully
that.
prepared.
Yeah, and these are professionals.
Yeah, and even the other guy, he said there's no way he would have known that
The bullet was
hole
tampered.
hot. Yeah.
And this guy's ex-military. He was deployed. So it's not like some random guy picking up. Like these are pros. They in military. Like that was just another freak accident, which got caught on camera.
It's so sad.
Poor guy, man.
Shit.
That's when you start gaining consciousness.
fuck.
again. So I would say
Oh, shit,
probably
what do we
10,
do?
15 seconds you were
It's
unconscious.
his face.
Do you have recollection of that at all? Of like,
No, not yet.
Okay.
Nope.
He
'cause the
doesn't
first
remember
thing,
it.
The first thing I saw when like my eyes met your face was your jaw definitely got like shoved somewhere it's not supposed to be. The lower part of this part of your jaw had like moved out and it was pushing your skin out some,
Dislocated it.
and the bottom part of your jaw, what's that bone there? Is that the mandible?
I think so.
Okay, the whole bottom part of your face was a bit sideways. And then seeing all the burns and thinking for a second maybe you lost your hand and the smoke and just like the shock setting in, it was like, what actually happened here?
I mean, the launcher looks like it left too.
Oh, it went up.
Yeah, the launcher
That's not
went
where
up.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, it launched.
Insane.
What's happening?
We're calling 911.
Yeah, ASAP.
For what?
We're calling 911.
For what?
You're bleeding.
He don't even know what happened.
You're bleeding from inside
He's
your
doing
head.
the right thing there, holding me down.
Yep. Do you have memory of this?
I don't think yet.
So you just turned off.
I feel like mentally he's lost consciousness, but I feel like there's another part of his brain trying to keep his body active.
Yeah, or like trying to respond to it. Well, like you said, he's unconscious.
Yeah.
He's unconsciously acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't
Because
know.
his body is still moving and he's talking, but he's not there with it. if
Yeah,
that
when they're
makes
saying
sense.
call 911, he's like, for what? Like, he don't get
Yeah,
it.
he's
Like,
hearing it,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, he just don't get like what happened. He don't even know he's injured. Like, he's not there. He's unconscious. But
He doesn't even remember this
yeah,
either.
wild, man. That is I can see why you guys wanted us a reaction on this, because this is crazy, man.
If you're on mic there accidentally and then it
Okay.
comes back on later. But what's interesting here is your brain knows something's wrong.
Yeah,
obviously.
what we just said.
And I think the first thing that kicks in for you with your medical training is figure out what's wrong and help. And it's weird because you're the person that needs the help.
Yeah. Right.
So you're asking like, what happened? And then when Todd says we're calling 911,
Except
you're
for
asking
what?
like, what for? Like, why? So I don't know if that's like your brain's shock and confusion, or if your brain is still trying to figure out like, who do we need to help? Like, what's going on? Like,
I think
do
it's
you
that.
remember asking those questions?
No.
Okay.
Nope. What is all that smoke from?
Fire extinguisher.
Oh,
the back
okay.
blast set off a small fire behind you.
Gotcha. Okay.
We're here. Help is on the way.
Did I just ask if it blew up?
Is that what you asked?
I think so.
What happened? It blew up?
But I said it all
Ta.
because my jaw was crooked.
Is it weird seeing yourself like?
It's very
It's
weird.
like it's a memory that doesn't exist for you, but it's you.
Yeah, I don't remember any of this.
Okay. Because you're about to see one of the first memories that you've told me about, which is talking about the medical bag.
Yeah.
And what to get out of it. That's coming up soon. So that's probably, let's see, it's been over 2 minutes since it happened.
Oh,
So
wow.
that much of your memories,
Dang.
at least right
Gone.
now, doesn't exist.
In my truck.
First aid is in this truck, you said. We have
Okay.
first aid.
Is that where your memory comes back? No?
Inside the
Thomas gonna be
You still don't
on his
remember
right
it.
side, right here. Where my
inside the
handle-
big
that's where the
bucket.
blast was.
there's a wall.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yep.
So your memory took 3.5 minutes to come back.
Good grief.
That's a blessing in disguise.
What?
That he doesn't remember this traumatic experience.
They say, you know, like when someone goes through real trauma, the brain suppresses it in your memories sometimes so that way you don't have to relive it, you know? It doesn't happen for everyone, but that's something the brain does do. And I guess, I don't know if it's because of the shock factor that the brain compressed it, or it's just his brain trying to protect him and his body from reacting even worse. I don't know. But
Because he's watching all this saying, I don't remember this at all.
3.5 minutes. it
Literally,
took.
that is a blessing
Yeah.
in disguise.
And that's why his partner here was quite
nervous.
showing him, because he's thinking, is this gonna make him kind of react a certain way that his brain suppressed, maybe bring it back out
Or
it's a
maybe
risk.
make him want to stop doing this as well.
as well.
forever.
Yeah,
You can see his friend's more nervous than him.
he's more nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't see it. I'm digging. Okay. Because I remember digging in the bag.
Just off
it's just
camera.
off camera. Okay.
Yeah. This has to be surreal for you because you never saw at least your face from an outside perspective
No.
until you were like in the hospital.
In the trauma bay, yeah.
But for a while there, that laceration in your face was bleeding so much it was down on your neck. And I think that was confusing some people. They thought your neck was bleeding. So they were applying pressure there first
there's no blood
until it was more obvious it was coming from your cheek.
Gotcha.
I don't have any medical allergies.
Okay. Any heart things they need to know about?
His eyes are
No
open.
heart
Okay.
conditions, no medical allergies. I'm probably dehydrated.
Okay. They're probably going to give you saline immediately.
They give them saline IV when they get here.
Is my right arm burned?
My right arm hurts.
Yeah, very burned. It's black.
Okay, is there more of that, the big ones? So this is when we start smearing all the stuff all over you, applying these pads. And
About this time was, I think my brain kind of went, okay, like someone else is doing the things that I was wanting to get done, and then I don't remember
Kinda
much
drifted
after that.
off.
Yep. But you said I stayed up and talked, and
yeah. So about this is when I thought I should probably turn off the cameras because it didn't feel like the right thing to do. And then later I went and turned the camera back on because I'm like, this should probably be documented.
okay.
But was it on high speed?
I don't even know or care.
Or care.
There is a little bit more of later on. This is you being treated.
Oh, okay. So we got like actual.
Look at his
It's
arm.
like law enforcement showed up first, and then
He's so lucky he's still got his arms. I'll tell you that for free.
Do you remember this? Sitting there and talking to officers?
nope. After
Still don't remember
the,
it.
like kind of first aid stuff, I don't remember anything until the helicopter.
Okay. So yeah, they kind of just look you over until the
Insane.
helicopter gets there, make sure you're covered up, and this shot isn't as slow as we normally do. For this, we had the flex camera, 3,000 frames a second to see everything, and then the 2512 is like close in on like this area.
Okay.
So this isn't going to give us like hyper detail, but it's still, we're going to see something.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god.
Yep. It's
Helmet straight off
like
as well.
a war movie shot. Like it's one of those things you can't fake, basically.
What
It's
the-
Michael Bay eats your heart out.
And he survived
There's
that.
the plate.
Yeah, let me wind that back.
Holy shit.
Like they said, he was in an explosion,
So-
literally.
It started normal.
Yeah.
I mean, rocket's moving. We can see some propulsion coming. So it didn't instantaneously.
It exploded in the middle.
This is the first glimpse of it going off.
Yeah, look, it's like
There.
bulging. And look at all that fight. Like, I don't have a beard now, but they shaved that off.
Yeah. No,
I lost almost no
you
hair.
had basically your full facial hair intact, and I was very surprised because,
How
like,
in
look,
the hell?
like you're in
My
you're in
god.
flames for a while. If you saw this footage and didn't have any context, would you not have thought like that would kill a person?
That's
Oh,
what I
100%.
thought.
Yeah.
Well, it's no wonder all the doctors told me they thought I should be dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's worth saying, like, your helmet got blown off of you, your eye protection got blown off of you, your plate carrier vest unfolded, your plate
Yeah.
flew out, your brace.
So although all those things left him and it flew off, that might have been enough to save his life by being there, maybe absorbing some of the impact or the flames. Like Kentucky Ballistic, what I will say is it wasn't his time to go, for sure. And
bracelet got thrown off.
Never did find that. So the helmet, you can see I don't have it strapped. I didn't like buckle my chin strap, but that one has
he should have buckled
a
it.
headband retention. It tightens like a hard hat.
Okay.
So I mean, it was tensioned to my head. It wasn't just like plopped on there with nothing holding it on. It was tensioned. Oh man, that launcher went high.
Yeah. And it's like actively flaming out of the failure point.
Unreal.
And then just absolute
you can-
ragdoll.
You can tell you were unconscious because you're not grimacing. Like,
Yeah,
you're just
no,
you're
that's-
just falling.
There was no reaction
That's
there.
so sad.
So about
taken
2 to
out.
3 milliseconds, you were engulfed in like raw explosive flames, which isn't a long time in terms of footage, but that's all
enough.
it takes.
That's enough.
But if you
to
think
die.
of the injury list that I listed, TBI, a traumatic brain injury, a temporal skull fracture causing a brain bleed, cheekbone was broken in 2 places, my jaw may have been like dislocated or misaligned, a laceration to my cheek, anywhere from 10 to 15% of my upper extremities were 3rd-degree burns requiring skin grafts, small fragmentations throughout.
It all happened in 2 to 3 milliseconds.
milliseconds.
Yep. I mean, you can even see the
That's
first
a lot of
frame
damage.
that you start to get hit, like it contacting your shoulder and wrapping around your hand. Like this right here is the last millisecond of you unharmed.
Right.
And then the next millisecond, you're already being harmed right there.
That's nuts.
Like even here, your body doesn't know what's happened yet.
It just happened so
Nobody knows what's happened
fast.
yet, even if they were watching it with their eyes. So the big question is, what caused this? And I think the main things that we can rule out that people wondered about was A, did the ballistic head prevent it from venting quickly enough to cause it? So if we go back to the first high-speed angle here, by the time the blast is hitting the dummy in the head, it's already exploding.
Right.
So it's just now touching the dummy, and the entire rest of the launcher is already
It's already
exploding.
gone.
My God.
So we can at least rule that out. The other thing is...
Some people had talked about the smoke around the trigger
I covered
pack.
that. Yeah. In order to reactivate it, you have to basically drill or mill out that previously welded in rod, put your own firing pin in, and kind of weld that in place.
Yep.
So
New trigger pack.
there's always a chance that it's not perfectly sealed and you'll get a little bit of smoke venting out. So in no way does that contribute to the failure. There are sometimes places that smoke will vent out.
The rocket's moving, so that wasn't like jammed
Yeah, it's
in
not
there.
like it went
Right,
backwards.
no, it wasn't jammed at all. Kind of proper procedure for these launchers is that you should clean them pretty often. So
Yep.
RPGs that'll fail out in the field are ones that have been fired so many times they get gunked up on the inside. There's metal fatigue that happens over time.
Okay.
So that's a normal thing that can happen, but it wasn't the case here. I think we cleaned it with both like actual solvent cleaners and the cleaning rod.
So
every
what
3
caused it
shots.
then?
So it's worth mentioning a little bit more specifically about how RPG launchers are reactivated by different companies. In our case, they went in and did the re-weld. Then they also pressure test it and X-ray the welds to, check that they are good, high quality welds. And then the inside of the tube is then re-sleeved with basically another metal tube inside of it. So basically this launcher is about as good as it gets when it comes to reactivated launchers. However, a weld is still a weld, and that means that around the weld is a little bit more brittle than an actual completely new tube. So there's a very small inherent risk in working with welds. So even after pressure testing it, X-raying the welds, re-sleeving it, there are still things that can go wrong.
So that means that can happen to any reactivated launcher that has been welded rather than its original tube, because seems like there was nothing else that went wrong. It was well maintained, it was well cleaned, the rocket went forward, the smoke that people said it might be, he said that's very normal because obviously it had to be resealed. So any reactivated launcher, that can happen, which is really scary. So
But
people
then
need to be
again,
careful.
if it's even if it's a small chance that it could happen, wouldn't you think that they should use a different material or something?
Or a different method
Yeah.
to like sort it out.
That's what I would assume, just
Well-
to prevent this from happening.
You would think so, yeah.
It might be worth talking about the booster itself a little bit more. So basically, all boosters, depending on the length, the size, they're always separated by sequential charges. I think it's usually separated by wood or cardboard. The firing pin comes in through here and it initiates the first part of the blast. So it's by sequentially, sort of like a firework, sequentially moving through these different stages of the booster, that's what allows it to launch.
Okay.
And so
Build pressure in this chamber while
Yep.
it goes down the...
yeah, so it's moving itself while it's moving through fuel, essentially. So in our case, a normal black powder booster might have 6 sequential charges in it that allows it to launch. There are longer ones that might have 8 charges or 12 charges. Basically, however much mass you need to move or how far you want the rocket to go could dictate how long of a booster you need. In our case, our warheads were CNC machined real metal warheads instead of the thinner stamped or even printed rocket heads. So for the lighter ones, you might only need a short booster. In our case, we had a longer booster. So after examining all of the high-speed footage, after looking over the inside of the launcher, what basically happened here was the beginning part of the booster failed, which cascaded into the rest of the booster. A properly reactivated, high-quality launcher should still be able to handle that. However, there is now the chance that if part of the booster detaches from the rocket as it is moving out of the front of the launcher, it can then butt up against and even seal the venturi part of the tube. And what that means is there is no longer anywhere for a lot of that pressure to go. And it all builds up at once,
blew up.
caused an immense amount of pressure. And the first place for that pressure to vent was the weld points. And that caused it to vent downward and into Adam's arm, his chest, basically all over his...
To be fair, what he just explained makes a lot of sense. And that's probably the only thing that makes sense for that to happen. So that is probably the cause. Quite educational at the same time, though. It's nice to see they're trying to turn this negative experience to at least be somewhat educational to help others to avoid this ever happening again on the YouTube platform.
His upper body. The weld acted as a release point by it failing. If it had not failed, this could have become like other videos on the internet where the launcher completely grenades. If you look closely at the failure, it's not the weld itself, which is usually almost a perfect rectangle that's cut into it. It is around the weld where the metal inherently becomes slightly more brittle. And they try to make up for this by re-sleeving it. But when you're dealing with this much pressure in such a short amount of time, and it can no longer vent through the venturi as it's supposed to, that's a lot of pressure.
And I had quite a bit of downtime in the hospital. I Googled around, and if you go to enough websites, I saw some other RPG failures that looked a lot like that. And then, as you can see, somebody, not me, found as many pieces of the...
You weren't crawling around finding this stuff?
Found as much of the furniture as they could.
I'm not gonna lie, after watching that, I'd never touch an RPG. If there was ever an opportunity for me to shoot an RPG, I'd never do it.
I wouldn't let you, to be honest.
Thing is, with the ballistic one, Kentucky Ballistics, when his one failed, it was the bullet. And it was a specific bullet that he got, which was not like, they don't sell them in store like that. But from when the actual like gun fails, or in this case, the rocket launcher, I feel like that can happen to anyone. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and a lot of them will be reactivated. They're not going to be the full tube. So, yeah, forget that, man.
Some of this got splintered into oblivion, but I mean, it's about how that stuff works. So it's one of those things where high-speed footage gives us a decent glimpse at what happened, but it's only going to be educated guesses. And this is based on all of the footage we've looked at, different people we've talked to. This is our best educated guess. And I feel like that's probably what happened.
I think so.
Do you want to look at your equipment you were wearing?
No.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be gone.
I already see a lot going on here.
Yeah. So this is basically everything that helped protect your life.
Yep.
And just because of how production works sometimes, we already filmed multiple episodes with high explosive rockets beforehand.
Yep.
So it just happened to be that production worked out that way. And you'll see a lot of our safety in those other videos. We didn't even shoot the things off our shoulders. We had them mounted to something with a pull string.
Yeah, neither of us actually fired a high explosive rocket.
Not once. So we were about as safe as possible as you can be while still getting to at least fire a rocket once or twice. And the accident still happened. So I'm hoping this is a good reminder to anybody that works with firearms, explosives, any of this stuff, that no matter how safe you try to be consciously, there's always a risk of something going wrong. And it's not even something you may have overlooked. It's just like when you buy ammunition, there might be a bullet that is loaded a bit too much, or a firework that has a little bit too much powder in it, or whatever it might be.
In the episode that we released, we talked about using prototype rounds. None of the RPG-7s were prototype rounds. We were discussing the Carl Gustav rounds.
Yes.
And even then, I probably shouldn't have used the term prototype.
Yeah.
They had been tested numerous times already. So those weren't things that we were just bringing out and firing for the...
The only thing they did not have yet was the way the casing vents out the back to make it recoilless. Everything else was proper.
I think there's like a different fuse because there was a little bit of a delay between the two. But so none of the RPG stuff was prototype. That was all very standard.
Especially the boosters. Boosters are like the same boosters you'd use for any test.
Right, yeah.
Todd, who's been in this industry for a long time, he gave us like the best chance at success at this. It was his launcher. Nothing about his launcher caused this failure, which I think is important to point out. It's just like a gun. Like, you give it the wrong ammo, it's not the gun's fault.
Right.
We gave it a booster that ended up failing, and...
Yep, and I still talk to Todd.
But you can't control.
Yep. We're still friends. He has decided to leave the industry. He did a lot of machine gun rentals and then launcher stuff. Being there, it affects people different ways.
Traumatizing them.
Seeing things like that. I mean, you've kind of talked to me about it's like, it can be difficult. I mean, and so he discussed it with his family, and between himself and his family, they decided to get out of the business.
That isn't guilt. We need to point that out.
Right, yes. Nope, it was just a decision that they made. So you will notice he closed down all of his social medias and his website and everything. We had a few people point that out to us. We're aware.
Yep.
He told us he was doing it.
That is his way of handling what is essentially a bit of mental trauma from this. That is his way of handling it. That's a total...
I think it's a really tough position. Obviously, they're saying it's not guilt, but I feel like, you know, if that's your machinery and he died, which he very easily could have there, and even though he didn't die, the damage caused to him, and you've seen that input, like he was there witnessing their recording, that's going to do a lot to you, knowing that that was in a way, your responsibility, even though it's not his machinery's fault and it was their booster, which is the likely case, it's still going to affect you mentally.
And also, because he was there literally live, he does not want that to happen to anybody else in the future.
Yeah.
So that's probably what made him want to shut down the business.
Yeah, which is fair. If that's, like I said,
this guy nearly died.
Yeah, if that makes him kind of get over it in his way, then fair play. Yeah.
Totally personal thing, and we're going to let him do that. That's what he needs to do. We all handle it differently, and that was his method. Yeah, Todd's still a good friend of ours.
Absolutely.
So please don't think that him doing that stuff was in any way guilt on his part, because I mean, it'd be like if I didn't post this video just because that was my way of handling it. That's not guilt. That's just, it's different when you see videos on the internet of accidents and stuff. When it's your friend right in front of you, it's different. So just have some respect, and just give people space when they need it, I would say.
Yeah.
I like how they dealt with that. Very professional. Obviously, it's a tough scenario to be in, man. Like, they seeing it live, their friend nearly lost his life. That is a traumatic experience to the guy, you know, to him who was shooting the RPG and everyone around. What's your overall thoughts on the video?
Blessing in disguise that the actual guy who shot the RPG doesn't remember a thing.
True.
You could clearly see it as well, because he's like, oh, I didn't know I was saying all that. And hopefully all those friends and family that were around him, they're healing from this traumatic experience as well. I know for a fact they're going to take extra caution now. They're probably going to be traumatized for their friend, thinking, oh, you know,
this could
be careful when you're shooting that, right?
And it's mad because it seemed like they took so much caution and it still happened. It's crazy. Guys, thank you so much for the recommendation. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and keep recommending content in the comments below. For now, peace out.
Bye.